Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rikakadash. Yahweh been the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh Shah been the name of His only begotten Son, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Now, the Lord spoke these words, in other words, how they say, in other words, this is what He told the nation of Israel. Now, after He told the nation of Israel, He's also going to tell somebody else this. But let's deal with what He told the nation of Israel pretty much. Deuteronomy 28 and 25. He said, the Lord shall cause you to be smitten or killed before your enemies. So now He's telling them straight up that I'm going to cause you to do this. It say the Lord shall cause you to be smitten before your enemy. So your enemy just ain't got some ideal in their head that they want to do whatever they going to do. Kill somebody pretty much. It says, thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed in all the kingdoms of the earth. So now He's telling the Israelites, y'all going to be scattered. You're going to be removed throughout all the kingdoms. They're not going to have you just in one place. Or I'm not going to have you just in one place. Okay. So we go to verse 45. Deuteronomy 28:45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon you, and shall pursue you, and overtake you, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearken not unto the voice of the Lord your God, to keep His commandments and His statutes, which He commanded you. So He telling them, these curses is going to come upon you. Let's get 1 or 2 curses right above that. It say, verse 43, Deuteronomy 28:43. The stranger that is within you shall get up above you very high, and you shall come down very low. 44. He shall lend to you, and you shall not lend to him. He shall be the head, and you shall be the tail. So now the nation of Israel is going to be the low. Be low, and they're going to be the tail. Let's jump down to 48. It says, therefore shall you serve your enemies, which the Lord shall send against you. So now He gonna send the enemies to the nation of Israel, and the nation of Israel is gonna have to serve them. Now what's another word for serve? Slave. See, slave and servant, they go hand in hand. So now you're gonna have to be a slave to your enemies. It says, which the Lord shall send against you in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And He shall put a yoke of iron upon your neck, until He have destroyed you. So now they're going to have chains around your neck. See, they're going to have you chained with your arm and around your neck. Yokes of iron. It says, verse 49, the Lord shall bring a nation against you from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue you cannot understand. Verse 50, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. So now your enemies was going to be a nation. This wasn't going to be random enemies. See, it was going to be a nation. See, a united nation was going to come together. 64. It says, and the Lord shall scatter you among all people, from one end of the earth even to the other, and there you shall serve other gods. See, now you either gonna be a part of their religions. See, with serving other gods, celebrating their holy days, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, May Day, Father's Day, Mother's Day, birthday. See, 4th of July. You're gonna be serving and participating in their other gods and their holy days. See, because God, how you serve a God is through the holy days, through their special days, their separate days. And that's why they do it according to the season. And when you look at the chart of the season, those gods and those holy days fall on them days. So he say, let's jump down to 68. It says, and the Lord shall bring you into Egypt again with ships. Now that Egypt, that's a Greek word. See, that land was the land of Ham, and Mizraim was that son of Ham that populated that land. Ham didn't have no sons called Egypt. See, you're in the land of Ham, just like if you're in the land of Israel. You got Benjamin, Levi. Well, Levi didn't have a land because they were the high priest. You got Benjamin, Judah, Issachar, Naphtali, Ephraim, see, Asher. All of these had their own land, and they had to give tithes to the Levites. So you wouldn't have no land that wasn't named after the father. See, Ham was the father of that land, and that land had to be named after one of the sons, Mizraim. So the Greeks and these people that translated this Bible, they put in Egypt because it's no son of Ham called Egypt. So he say, this Deuteronomy 28:68. And the Lord shall bring you into Egypt again with ships. Now, also that Egypt go back to a house of bondage. Let's get that real quick. Exodus 20 verse 2. It says, I am the Lord your God, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. See, that Egypt represented bondage. See, yeah, all right, let's go back to 28:68. It says, and the Lord shall bring you into Egypt again with ships. So now he's going to bring you back in the house of bondage, because the Israelites never went back into Egypt. See, once they left, they went into the wilderness. Then out of the wilderness, they went into the promised land, the land of Canaan. And they took up war with those Canaanites, took over those lands, and that was it. They didn't go back to Egypt, even though they was trying to. It says that they was going to go into slavery, house of bondage again with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto you, thou shalt see it no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondman and bondwoman, and no man shall buy you. So they was going to be sold unto these enemies. They weren't just going to end up serving the enemies or being wandering off into other people's land, and then you end up just serving the enemy. No, you're going to be sold to the enemy. See? And let's go ahead and get that, because these people argue stupid points. Let's get it right out of Joel chapter 3, verse 6. It says, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecian, that ye might remove them far from their border. See, it was clear that the Israelites were sold to to their enemies, man. They didn't sell each other and all this other mess. They was the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem were sold to their enemies. It's a clear book, chapter, and verse that says exactly that. Now, when you go to now we know they went to Babylon. Now I'm thinking they talked about their captivity in Babylon too. Okay. Now it just talks about the captivity when they went into Babylon. It tells you how many of them went into Babylon and everything. Okay. So that was another fulfillment of Deuteronomy 28. When he told the Israelites, you going into slavery at the end of the day. Before they went into slavery, he told them, you going into slavery. Now look at Leviticus. Leviticus 26. Let's get 13. It says, I am the Lord your, Leviticus 26:13. It says, I am the Lord your God, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, that ye shall not be their bondman. See? And I have broken the bands of your yoke, and made you go upright. Now look at what he tell them. Let's see here. Verse 16. He say, if they don't keep the commandments, he say in verse 16, I also will do this unto you. I will even appoint over you terror, consumption, and the burning of you that shall consume the eyes, and cause sorrow of the heart, and ye shall sow your seed in vain, and your enemy shall eat it. Look at verse 17. He said, and I will set my face against you, and ye shall be slain before your enemies. They that hate you shall reign over you, and ye shall flee when none pursueth you. So now he said he gonna cause the enemies to slay them. See? So when he told them, you going into slavery, see, it wasn't no mercy then. It wasn't no mercy when he told Abraham they going into slavery. See, look at what he said in verse 18. And if you will not yet for all this, meaning if you go into slavery and you still don't hearken, you still don't listen to me. He said, and if ye will not yet for all this hearken unto me, then I will punish you 7 times more for your sin. So when they went into slavery, they still was rebellious. See? Just like now, these jokers catching Stockholm Syndrome and they loving their oppressor. They catching Stockholm Syndrome and they in love with their captives. People that done captured them and brought them against their will. They in love with them. They walking hand to hand with them. They listening to Martin Luther King, Michael King, and they going to want to join the children together and want to be so-called brothers with them. See? This is why he punished them 7 times more. So he not only he told them, you going into slavery, he told them, I'm going to let them put you to death. See? You going into slavery, and your slave master gonna put you to death. This is what the Most High told the Israelites, man. So on the next round, ain't no reason nobody should get their eye all looking all crazy. how they say they shouldn't get their panties in a bunch, because he told the Israelites straight up, you going into slavery, and I'm gonna cause your enemies to kill your behind. And if you still want to be disobedient, I'm gonna turn up the heat and make them punish you even more. See, this is how the Lord operates. He gonna tell you you going into slavery before you get there. Okay. And look at some of the conditions of slavery. Lamentation, chapter 4. Let's see, Lamentation 4:17, it say, as for us, our eyes as yet fell for our vain help. See, ain't was no help coming. You going into slavery, and they gonna kill you, and you ain't gonna have no help. It says, as for us, our eyes has yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. You see, these folks catch Stockholm Syndrome, and they think their slave master gonna save them. They think their slave master gonna show them some pity. See, give us equal rights. Treat us equally. Treat us like your children, you know. Treat us like your sons and your daughters. See, let us eat with you and hang with you and go to school with you. Why you got us on this side of town in the ghetto? Why you mistreating us? Save us from this oppression. See, they asking the slave master, let's march down the street, and everybody march together, hold hands, and hold up picket signs and say, no justice, no peace. Ain't gonna be no justice, no peace. You talking about no justice, no peace to a people that don't care. They don't care about your justice and your peace. They care about their justice and their peace, their children's peace, their children's justice. That's why when Martin Luther King, when he was talking to the reporter say, well, you really think that these white folks gonna give you gonna risk their children and their property? See, what they hold so dearly to their heart, their children and their property. You think you gonna be able to change that, man? And see, that's why you say that dream that I had done turned into a nightmare, because those people weren't gonna give up their property. They weren't gonna send their children to his integrated school. See, they weren't gonna go down smooth. Well, I'm gonna send my children to the school with these Negroes, these are Hispanic. I'm gonna send my children to their school, and they gonna all be together, hold hands and laugh and sing. See, the reporter already knew. That's why he had to ask them, do you think that these whites gonna let their children get into that kind of situation where they got boys flirting with their daughters, these blacks and Hispanic boys flirting with their daughters? You think they just gonna let that go down? You think they gonna just let you be equal to them in their society? See, he had to ask them, and Martin Luther King, he had to tell them straight up, yeah, that dream I had was a nightmare, because they not gonna do it. And when they started Vietnam, they seen, okay, Vietnam, you not gonna be able to get to these people's conscience of give some folks some equal rights. They don't care about no equal rights. They over here killing Asian people who ain't never came to America and did nothing. You see? So why they gonna give you some pity when they over here slaughtering Asians? They're not gonna pity you. They don't even pity the soldiers and the young people that they sending over there coming back with legs amputated,
tell them about the
eyes knocked out. They don't care.
Tell them about the USA.
So this is how these people don't understand when the Lord was saying they going into slavery and nobody wasn't going to save them. They slave master wasn't going to save them. The Israelites was going to get punished. He said, I'm going to send you into slavery, and if you still don't obey me, I'm going to make your enemies kill you. See, that's why they was hanging them on trees. That's why they was beating their backs in. See, that's why they was raping their women. This was the punishment for them being proudful, stiff-necked, don't want to listen to the Lord. He punished they behind. Now let's get some more of this. Let's see. Oh yeah, this one right here. Look at that. Lamentation 2 and 15 and 16. It say, all that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughters of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? Verse 16, Lamentation 2 and 16. All your enemies have opened their mouth against you. They hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we look for. We have found. We have seen it. See, when they conquered the nation of Israel, you think they was being sorrowful? You think they was going to show some mercy? No. They've been looking for that day to conquer these people, to take them from their God. Let's get that. Judith 5 and I think 20, get right to the point. Judith 5 and 20 say, now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overtake them. 21. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their God be with them, and we become approached before all the world. You see, that's why they didn't want this to go down. These other nations was wishing and hoping, if we get these Israelites, man, we gonna be in good shape, because their Lord already gonna punish they behind if they mess up. See, we know their Lord gonna punish them. He gonna throw they behind into slavery. See, he gonna let us kill them. He gonna let us punish them. He not gonna show them no mercy. We got to get these people to sin against their God. We got to get these people to go against what their God told them. That's why in Lamentations say they've been looking for that day. They've been looking for the day that they can take over the Israelites. Now, let's see where we at. We at 30 minutes. Okay, let me get a few more. Yahushua, he told them the same thing. Luke 21 and 24. This is why when it happened in 70 AD, when the Romans came to take over, it say, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captives in all nations. So now the Israelites, they were going to go into slavery. Yahushua, who they ignorantly called Jesus Christ, he told them straight up, you're going to die, they going to come and kill you, and you're going to go into slavery in every nation. See? Yahushua told them, who they up in there talking about the Lord this and the Lord that, sweet Jesus this and sweet Jesus that. Well, sweet Jesus told you, you going into slavery. Straight up. In all nations. You're going to be a slave. He said, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So he said, your homeland, not only is you going into slavery and we going to let them kill you, your homeland going to be occupied by the Gentiles, the non-Israelites, not your people. Till I come back, your homeland gonna be occupied, and you gonna be a slave in somebody else's land. See? Till I crack that sky, you gonna be a slave. This is what the Lord is telling them, man. Straight up. Look at verse 23. He say, but woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. So he told them straight up, it's going to be wrath upon this people. It's going to be distress in the land. It's going to be great trouble in this land. The Romans going to come and slaughter people. Going to drag them away as slaves. They're going to sell them into all nations. See? They're going to flee into all nations trying to get away. It wasn't no pity being shown to these Israelites. And he said, when you go into these nations, no man is going to save you. That's what Deuteronomy 28 and 68 was saying. Nobody coming to save you out of this slavery. Once you go into slavery, ain't going to be no saving you. These nations that got you in slavery, they're not going to give you reparation and tell you you're going to come out of slavery and go back to your homeland. We're going to give y'all reparation and let you go, buy you some land somewhere. No. You stand right here, you paying us taxes and tribute unto Caesar. Let's get that. Shoot, when he told them they going into slavery, and they gonna get kicked out of their homeland and go into slavery, while he was telling them that, they was already in slavery under the Romans. See, that's why they was paying tribute to Caesar. You got to pay tribute to Caesar, and there's no record of anybody else being into slavery in the history of the world, man. So it is no other people that went into slavery. That's what Daniel 9 and 11 was talking about. No other people was going into slavery as a nation. 10 people getting snatched and sold, that's not going into slavery, man. God is not talking to 10 people. He wasn't talking to 30 people. He wasn't talking to 500 people. He talking to millions of people are going into slavery. And I'm going to cause your enemies to rule over you, to reign over you, and to kill your behind if you keep on being wicked and not listening to me. See, this is what he told them. So now let's get to the other. Now we at the end, when you see the UFOs in the sky, see, when the government is seeing UFOs, we in 21, let's go ahead and get it. 21, 25, and 26. It says, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars. See, those signs are the UFOs. See, they flying around. This one white lady, she saw the UFO. She got the camera. She looking. She's like, oh, Lord, what is that? She said, I know that's not a helicopter. Why? It's just hovering there. What is that? See, that's those signs. And what was the signs going to do? What was the signs? When was the signs going to come? See, that's the whole point right there. When was the signs going to happen? It was going to happen while the Israelites was in slavery, while the Gentiles was in their homeland. Then you was going to have signs in the sun, moon, and stars, meaning in the sky. And upon the earth, the stress of nations. That way you got people rioting, going against their government with perplexity, and the sea, meaning the people, and the waves roaring, the people in an uproar. Let's get that in 2nd Esdras, man. 2nd Esdras, chapter 9. Let's get when he said he was coming to crack the sky. It said, verse 1, 2nd Esdras 9 and 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou shalt see the signs pass, see, talking about these signs again, which I have told thee before, then shall you understand. That is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Verse 3, therefore when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. All right, let's go back to Luke. Let's see what Luke just said it now. But 21, 25. He says, and the sea and the waves roaring. See that uproar? That's the sea, meaning the people. Uproars of the people. The people gonna be in the uproar. And they gonna be seeing UFOs flying in the sky. See, they gonna be seeing these unidentified objects flying in the sky. Then what you got? 27. He say, then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the cloud. So he gonna crack that sky when you're seeing uproars of the people, when you're seeing UFOs flying all around, unidentified objects, signs. Then you see that he coming. And then let's get to the point. 28. When he cracked the sky, what that's gonna mean for the Israelites? He said, when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your head, for your redemption draw nigh. So they gonna be redeemed. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 28:68. Going straight to the point at the bottom of 68. It says, and no man shall buy you, meaning no man shall redeem you. So when you crack the sky, then he say, lift up your head because your redemption draw nigh. Meaning now I'm going to redeem you once he cracked that sky. See, that's why he said you're going to be a slave until the end. You're going to be a slave and no man going to be able to redeem you because I got to crack the sky to redeem you. Okay? So now let's go to Jeremiah because the prophets is on the scene for a purpose. See what? The prophets told the nation of Israel first, you going into slavery, your enemy is going to rule over you. They going to kill you with the sword. You going into slavery into all nations. See, that's what the prophets was telling the Israelites. But now, the prophets is not telling the Israelites they going into slavery because they already in slavery. See, that message is not going to be to the Israelites now. Now let's go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah 28:8. It says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries, against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. See, the first great kingdom was the nation of Israel. The first great country was Jerusalem. See, that's what the first people that the prophets came out and they told, you are going into slavery. You got to serve your enemies. Your enemies gonna kill you. See, that was the first message that the prophets gave. But now it's a different message. Now the message is going for the ruling kingdom now. See, the Israelites is not ruling now. So the prophets is coming and giving the same message. Evil is coming. Pestilence is coming. The Lord is coming to be against you. See? And who in rulership right now? Who is the ruling kingdom? Let's go to Daniel. Daniel explains it perfectly. And the Jehovah Wickedness know it because these jokers got it in all of their books. See, they'll tell you straight up that these people are the Americans and the British. Everybody know that the British started slavery. Everybody know America is where slavery happened. It's a common fact. The greatest slave trade in the history of mankind was in America. It's not a hard equation. They'll tell you that America motivated and created this United Nations. See, they promoted, created, motivated people to say we are part of a United Nation because America had power to do so. Britain had power to do so. They are dual power. That's what Revelation 13 and 11. America and Britain is the world power. They call them Anglo-Saxon world power. Ain't no such thing in the scriptures as an Anglo-Saxon. See, nobody in the scriptures is an Anglo-Saxon. That's a lie from the devil. Now it says here in Daniel 7 and 23, it say, thus he said, for the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth. Who devouring the whole earth? America. See, America have 800 out of the 840 military bases. America has 800. And then you got Russia with 30. So all the white people got all the military bases. So what does that tell you? This is one nation with all the power. And it ain't no Anglo-Saxon. Let's get the real identity of these people. Let's get the real identity. Now we go to 2nd Esdras real quick. Let's get the identity. 2nd Esdras 6 and 9. It says, for Esau is the end of the world. See, that fourth kingdom, that last kingdom. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. See, that last kingdom, that fourth kingdom, is talking about the kingdom of Esau, the so-called white man, who they call themselves Anglo-Saxon, they call themselves white, Caucasian, European. See, they call themselves every name but the nation of Edom because they don't want the punishment. See, they saying it's a League of Nations. They creating some League of Nations. Like other nations got power like them. Other nations got all the military bases and got power. No, other nations don't got no power, man. Russia and America, two nation of Edomites, got all the power. So when Jeremiah said the prophets was gonna come out, what kingdom is the prophets prophesying against? They prophesying against the kingdom of Esau. Now the Maccabees, let's get some more evidence. Maccabees chapter 5 verse 3. Now the Israelites was battling this nation, the Romans, the Greeks, the so-called white man. We know the Greeks were white people, the Caucasian people. We know the Romans was white people, Caucasian people. Let's see what the Maccabees was calling these people. Maccabees chapter 1 verse 5. Does Judas fought against the children of Esau? See, the Greeks was Edomites, the so-called white man. The Romans was Edomites, the so-called white man. This is who the prophet is coming to now. Now they telling them, you are going into slavery. All right, let's get it. Revelation chapter 13. Now mind you, you can go to you can just put it up online, Anglo-Saxon World Power, jw.org, ran by the so-called white man, the main or one of the Christian religion that deal with the Bible and write it down. See, these other Baptist church, these other little churches, they don't write nothing down and put it in no publication so you can go look at it and see what they believe or understand or what they teaching. But the Jehovah's Witnesses, you can go into their records and see what they saying. So My phone running dead. So when you go into Revelation 13, it says, starting at verse 9, if any man have an ear, let him hear. Verse 10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Now look at the next verse. The next verse gonna tell you who was leading people into captivity, which the Jehovah's Witness will tell you that this is America and Britain. It says, and I heard another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Two horns. Them horns represented two kingdoms, two nations, but not nationality-wise. See, they were the same nationality. America and Britain, where all the elites Edomites stay. This is where the elites Edomites, this is where they operate. See, this is where all the gold and the money is hoarded up. You got the Queen of England and all this kind of stuff. This is where the elites operate. But now then you got America. This is where the army, the military, the power, the strength. This is how they go and conquer all the land and put all their military bases. What you got, Boeing in either Connecticut or Connecticut or Massachusetts, one of them. Boeing, they make all the airplanes and for the whole world. See, they got the major airplane facility. Then you got Germany and Russia. Those are some more Edomite countries that make planes because they share information. They share blueprints. And their allies. That's what the 10 horns is talking about. But these two horns, these are the ones that put the Israelites into slavery. And you can pinpoint them. So let's get another one. Isaiah. Let's go back to Isaiah. Because Isaiah identify and speak plain about the situation. Isaiah 14, I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel. See, because he threw they behind into slavery. He said, you going into slavery and you're going to be killed with the sword. So now he's going to have mercy on them. He says, and set them in their own land. See, the Lord didn't set the Israelites in their own land. That place called Israel is the state of Israel, first of all, and the Baphomet or whatever the heck, the Rothschilds sent them people back in that land, bought all the land due to the Jehovah's Witness. Charles Taze Russell sent letters and had all kind of meetings with the so-called Jewish people, telling them that y'all can go back to that land, buy up the land, and move into the land. See, it was no God cracked the sky and sent the Israelites back to the land. No, that's a lie. It says, and the stranger shall be joined with them and shall cleave to the house of Jacob. See, so they are also gonna have the scattered that don't live, that don't pretty much identify or live in one place. That means the strangers always represented foreigners. So you got the bulk of Israelites in one place, and now you got Israelites all around that's going to get joined back to them. Verse 2, it says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. Now that servants and handmaids, like I said in the beginning, goes for a servant is the same thing as a slave. Slave and servant go hand in hand. They're the same operation. It says, and they shall take them captive whose captives they were. And they shall rule over their oppressors. So now, Britain, America, they gonna go into slavery under their slaves. The slaves gonna have them in slavery. The slaves is gonna put them to work. See, the slaves is gonna put them to death. See, the prophet saying the same thing that they said to the Israelites. Israelites, you going into slavery. Israelites, I'm gonna cause your enemies to kill your behind if you keep on being wicked. Israelites, you ain't gonna, nobody gonna come save you until I crack that sky. Now he's telling the so-called slave master, the Edomites with all the other heathen, you going into slavery under the Israelites, and you gonna have to serve them, and ain't nobody coming to save you. Let's get Jeremiah 30. Jeremiah 30, starting at verse 16, it says, therefore, all they that devour you shall be devoured, and all your adversaries, every one of them. See, nobody getting away. Ain't gonna be just a little, we gonna just get 300,000 Edomites. And we gonna let the other ones go to Hawaii and live in peace. No. It says, and all your adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity, and they that spoil you shall be spoiled, and all that prey upon you will I give for a prey. So the slave master going into slavery. These other nations, they going into slavery. Now you got Jeremiah. You got Psalms 59. Starting at verse 6. John 149, Salaki. Psalms 149. Psalms 149, starting at verse 6. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand. Verse 7. To execute vengeance upon the heathen, and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains, and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. So now, these other kings, these other nations, they got to go into slavery. Now he's sending the prophets to tell them, you going into slavery. You going into slavery under your enemies, and your enemies gonna put you to death. See, I'm gonna cause them to put you into slavery. I'm gonna cause them to put you to death. See, you're gonna have to serve them for one of all things. See, oh, let's get that. Zechariah. Zechariah break it down in detail. Zechariah chapter 14, verse 14. It says, and Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance. So now you got the other nations, the heathens, the Edomites, the so-called white man, the Moab, the Chinese, the Ammonites, the Japanese, the Elam, the East Indian, Ishmael, the Arabs, Hamites, the African, the Australians, not Australians, the Australians and the Hawaiians, the Japhites, all of these people are going into slavery, man. And they're going to have to bring their gold, their silver, all their precious jewels to the feet of the Israelites. See? Because he told the Israelites, you going into slavery, man, and they going to kill your behind. See, you want to be wicked, this is what you get. Joel chapter 3, starting at let me start at verse 7. It says, behold, I will raise them out of the place whether you have sold them. So he's going to raise the Israelites out of the place where he sold them. He told them, you're going into slavery. Now he's going to raise them up out of there. But look at what he said to these other people. He said in verse 8, and I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabaeans. See, them Sabaeans is going to be them Africans, them Hamites. See, non-Israelite. They going to sell them to the Hamites. The Hamites going to be the taskmaster, just like they was in Egypt. They're going to be doing what we say, taking the slaves to this spot, taking our slaves to that spot, and mainly the Edomites. See, we're going to have them dealing with the Edomites. And then let's get some more evidence on whose son and daughter is going into slavery, first of all. This Joel 3:19. It says, Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. So it names the children that's going into slavery. It says Edom. See, that was the only nation outside of the Tyre, the Hamites, and outside of the Gaza, the Arabs, that's going into slavery, or that was named in Joel 3. So let's get Amos 9. Amos chapter 9. He say, Joel say, your sons and your daughters, now I'm going to sell them to the Sabaeans. So now y'all going into slavery. Joel chapter 9, verse 12. Joel chapter 9, verse 12. He says, right after he said he's going to rebuild the house of David, pretty much rebuild the Israelites to where they got the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. They got both kingdoms. That's the house of David. David had both kingdoms under him, ruling. It says, verse 12, that they may possess the remnant of Edom and all the heathen. So the Edomites, the so-called white man, plus all the other heathen, they're going to be a possession of the Israelites. The blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they're going to have to serve the Israelites. Now, when you go into Deuteronomy, when he was telling the Israelites, y'all going into slavery, this is what he said was going to be the results of it, though. He told them from the jump. Deuteronomy 30:7, it say, and the Lord your God will put all these curses upon your enemies and on them that hate you, which persecute you. So he say, you're going into slavery.